everyone, welcome back to Build. I'm your host, Brittany Jones-Cooper. In the Netflix movie Nappily Ever After, Violet Jones has a seemingly perfect life, but after a hair-raising incident at the salon, her life begins to unravel. Eventually, Violet realizes that she was living the life she thought she was supposed to live, not the one she actually wanted. Today, I'll be joined by Sanaa Lathan and Lynn Whitfield, who star in the film, as well as director Haifaa Al-Mansour and producer Tracey Bing. But before we bring them out, let's check out the trailer from Nappily Ever After.
Morning, baby. Ever since I was a kid, my hair was everything. I had to be fixed. Only then was I perfect. What do you think? Perfect.
Baby, whether you're high or low, you got to tip on the top.
You're my go-to girl. Good job.
Tonight is gonna be the happiest moment of my life.
What do you get? The perfect woman. Meet Lola.
I was expecting a ring. You said I'm perfect.
24/7 perfection. You never let your hair down.
You don't want you on the account.
You can sponsor like 6 kids with that money you spend it for your hair.
Excuse me?
I apologize to my daughter. She knows better.
Wow, just be yourself.
Who would that be? The anal compulsive Miss Perfect cut or the not fun, never spontaneous weave?
Well, personally, I really like the weave.
I've worked so hard to be perfect, and it still wasn't enough.
I almost lost my mind. I left myself behind.
You think this is just something you did on a whim? I think you've been building up to it.
You gotta own it, girl. Yes.
Where are you going? To dinner.
What brothers want is a woman who's real.
My dad won't let me perm my hair.
You don't need to do that.
This craziness has got to stop.
That's right. That's right.
My hair was like a second job. Now I'm forced to focus on myself. I wonder who I'll be.
Everyone put your hands together for Sanaa Lathan, Lynn Whitfield, Haifaa Al-Mansour, and Tracey Bing. That trailer is emotional, right?
Yeah.
I watched the movie twice this weekend. I watched it once on early Saturday afternoon and then watched it again in the evening because I felt myself trying to unpack a lot of stuff after the first time and I felt like I needed to go back. But even just watching this trailer, I find myself getting emotional again. So I want to start with you, Tracey, because I know this was a labor of love for you.
Yeah.
This was a project you were trying to get off the ground for a number of years. So what was that journey like, trying to get people to hear this story?
Well, it started in 2005 when somebody from Mark Platt Productions sent me the script when I was at Warner Brothers. And I just fell in love with the story. We didn't end up making it, but it resonated with me because of my own childhood experiences. I was heavily influenced by European notions of beauty and standards of beauty. And playing with my blonde Barbie doll, I begged my mom to straighten my hair. And so this was a story that was always near and dear to me about sort of reclaiming like the ability to have to love our natural hair too. That's not to say you can't wear your hair straight or in weaves or whatever, but to also acknowledge that we're beautiful in our natural state.
And so,
sorry. So,
yeah, that's okay.
And so, yeah, so from there, you know, and 5 years ago, I was asked to build a slate of African-American films, and that was the first one I thought of. I thought, let's get this off the ground finally now. And it had some, you know, false starts, and it really just came together now when we made the film, but it was the perfect timing. I think this was the perfect time for this movie. So it was fortuitous.
It's a perfect timing, and Netflix has really, I think, been focusing more on telling different narratives and different stories.
Yes.
And when I saw the title of this and I saw your image on the poster, I was just like, they get it.
Yeah, they totally get it.
They're listening.
And they're the right home for it. We had to take it from one place and to Netflix, and they've been just great partners, and they understand this film, and I was just happy to work with them.
And so, Sanaa, I've followed your career. So many of your characters, I think for me, I have a personal connection to because you typically play women who are sort of working outside of a stereotype, whether it's in Love and Basketball or something new, sort of challenging what a Black woman is supposed to act like or look like. And so this role, I think you really did that. So why was this something that you wanted to be a part of?
Well, I just, the whole genre of romantic comedy is something that I love. I'm a romantic, and I miss them. Hollywood hasn't been making them. And something new I shot in 2005, so that was a long time ago. I was so excited when this came along because it had the whole kind of romantic comedy vibe, but it really had a deeper message. And hair is really just a metaphor for, how society or our parents or our peers or ourselves put ourselves in boxes about how we are supposed to be, how we're supposed to look. Obviously, we grew up in a culture where all the fairy tales we read were Cinderella, Alice in Wonderland, Goldilocks. I mean, all of these fairy tales that don't look like us, you know what I mean, or women of color. And what does that do to somebody who is a little girl growing up in this world? What does that say to her? How does that affect her self-esteem and her self-worth? Like, my hair is kinky. It doesn't look like that. Does that mean I'm not as good? So that's kind of just a metaphor for stepping outside of the box that society puts on you. And I just thought it was a beautiful story.
And you mentioned the childhood part of it, and Lynn, you play her mother, Pauletta. And I think their relationship is something a lot of Black women are going to relate to because the mother just wants her daughter to be accepted by everyone and for her to be able to go out in society and be perfect. But obviously that puts a lot of weight on Violet.
Absolutely. Most mothers believe in and read to their children the fairy tales, and the happily ever after. And many mothers live vicariously through their daughters. Whatever they didn't accomplish for themselves, they want to make sure that it happens for their daughters. So coming from a Southern background and a Southern Belle mother, this notion of, my athleticism is for nothing because, darling, don't go out there, your hair will go back. Yeah. Go back. So that was swimming, sweating, humidity. Yeah. It was all there. Mm-hmm. And it was very limiting and kind of put you in a box. But at the same time, mothers love their daughters and want the best for them. Mm-hmm. So it was just great to have such ease in this work. And so often in our work, these stories and these narratives come through drama. Very dramatic relationships. Mm-hmm. And this relationship, there was something light and frothy about it, and not a lot of resentments, loving, and again, romantic comedy,
Mm-hmm.
And
about
there's a
falling
romance between this mom and daughter.
Yeah, and also it's a romantic comedy about falling in love with yourself, as I've always said.
Well, exactly. So it was great fun to sort of translate this mother-daughter relationship, these more mature views of low self-esteem, and with a daughter, and to have Sanaa, where we just sort of, it just worked.
And the multi-generational thing worked again with Zoe too, who plays the little girl.
Yes.
And take me through just that comparison of this new generation of Black women who are able to maybe for the first time find love in their natural hair and that shift that we've been going through.
Yeah, I think it's such an exciting time right now, just in terms of our culture being, whether they want to or not, they're either being forced to be more inclusive or, they are being more inclusive of all cultures, of all hues, of even different body sizes. Now it is unacceptable to do anything but. But I have to say, and
it's still a struggle, though.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's still a struggle, and this is just the beginning. But I'm so excited that we're finally seeing it. My prayer was always coming up in this business. I've been in it for a long time. Is that I just want the movies and the TV to reflect the world that we live in, the melting pot that we live in, and it didn't. I would always say, oh, if an alien came to, and watched our movies, they would just think we were all like one race, you know? And so
it's not fair.
Yeah. But it's
evolving.
It's
and
evolving.
We've come a long way, but there's still a long way to go still.
But
I mean, at the same time, how great it was that Black Panther moment. You know, but there's one Black Panther, you know, and there's Insecure, and there's some of these, but there's still a lot of TV when you look on the television, you see women with straight hair and European looking.
And you know, I would say that this is not just a Black woman's issue.
Yeah.
Oh,
This is a woman's issue,
Yeah.
which is why I was just so happy, right? And I didn't know what I would think because we had this, it was kind of an offer to do this, but our director wanted to, you know, have a conversation with me. So we had the conversation via Skype.
Yes.
And honestly, I didn't know everything. I was in the car with my daughter on the way to celebrate her birthday. So we're having this FaceTime conversation. I was like, God, I'm saying, this is really interesting. Yeah, we're gonna talk to the director. And so I'm talking to her, and I see her, I said, who is she? What is, and she was so specific and so quiet and so listening. And what is wonderful is that Haifaa brought a sort of global perspective.
Absolutely.
About self-acceptance and things that I, you know, it was more, I don't know how to say it, but it was more of an overview of what the women struggle around the world to find self-acceptance and to be oneself. And you can tell them why.
No, absolutely.
You rebel, you.
And it was amazing meeting with Lynn. She had a big hat, and they told me Lynn is big, and she was big, and giving me all that. And I was like, she's amazing. She is the mother. So, but it is, yeah, when they sent me the script, and I come from Saudi Arabia, where we are known for lush, like Indian hair. It's not like our hair. We go through a lot of things. I learned how to blow dry my hair since 4th grade. I'm proficient. I can do everybody around the house.
Great.
No, yeah, it is. It looks like that, yeah, and my hair is curly. But it is a culture that is, if you don't blow your hair, if it is not straight, if it is not like, you are not accepted. In school, people will make fun of you, and you are not part of the social, like, whatever circle it is. And I felt it's sad for me, like, to be so skilled in that thing at, like, at 10 years old, and instead of, like, playing gymnastics or running around the houses. So when they sent me the script, I really loved it, because I love making films about women, but I want, we don't no longer want women to be portrayed as victims, and the society is against us. And amazing to see Violet and her mother are survivors, and just like strong women, like they are, and that is how we should give our kids, like movies that they see things, and they see beautiful women who are survivors and who are like victorious and no victim anymore. And that is the image we want to give. And I was really grateful for Tracey sending it. And when I met Tracey, I fell in love with her. So
I felt love.
that is like
not to love. She's an incredible producer.
So, Haifaa, let's talk about the scene.
Yes.
There's a scene where Violet decides that she is done playing the game and she shaves her head. So take me through directing that scene, because there really is a range of emotion. You feel angry, you feel sad, you feel slightly deranged. So take me through why you decided to shoot it so close and intimate like that.
Well, I have to give all credit to Sanaa for that scene. She carried it. It is amazing for me to witness as a director. We had a conversation with Sanaa, like going back and forth. They're going to shave her hair, not shaving her hair, and she decided to shave her hair, and she was like, "She's shaving her hair!" And then we wanted everything to go right, so we had the clippers, and we were trying to them like the right type of clippers and everything. And she only did it once on the
we could
wig.
only do it once. We had
No,
three
I mean
cameras.
on the wig when we were practicing. And she's 1, 2, I'm done. Sanaa, I'm done. I know it.
This was in the rehearsal.
Yeah.
But when we went into we had 3 cameras, so we were covered from every angle. And Sanaa said, "I'll take it." I was like, "Sanaa, you take it. I call cut." It's like, "You call cut." And I was there, and everybody's waiting. And it was the most amazing performance I've ever seen in my life.
And then
started crying, and we were crying. We were all crying. because of the roller coaster. And that is what it means to be working with such a wonderful actress like her. And I'll leave that to her.
And courageous.
Yes.
Yeah, to
So
take
can
it
you
back.
take me through just how you prepared for that and what that moment was like?
It's interesting because I had been attached to the project for a while before we actually started shooting. So in the beginning, I was like, "Oh no, I'm not shaving my head."
I remember.
It's 2000. Yeah, we're in the 21st century. We could use a bald cap, and that will be just fine. But then as I started diving into the character and the world and really thinking about what this means, the messages that are coming out of this movie, I was like, I can't not do it. I also happen to be in a time in my life where I have what I call hair exhaustion. I was just over it. You know, after being an actress in this business for 20 years, having to, you know, what am I gonna do today? If I blow my hair, I have to, you know, figure out what day I can go work out so that it doesn't sweat too much and what, you know, all of that. You know, different sets, different wigs. Anyway, I was a little over it. So the week leading up to the actual scene, it was like one of those kind of things where every time you think of it, your stomach, you get a little sick, you get a little nervous, butterflies. But when we did it, I just decided, you know, I'm just gonna go in as Violet and I'm not gonna worry, I'm not gonna decide what emotions I want to play. I was like, let me just let it roll. And the scene actually took 10 minutes. Yeah. It's like 4 minutes in the.
It's quite amazing
to see it uncut, too.
But it was
very nerve-wracking for all of us because even the crew, everybody was nervous.
Everyone was nervous.
This was like, we had all been talking about this scene.
And we could only do it once. We couldn't do it again.
So everybody was like on their P's and Q's and
quiet and whispery.
Yes.
I wasn't there that day, but they're like,
you
know she's gonna do it. She's decided to act.
And then Sanaa Googled. Do you want to talk about that?
No. Okay.
She's gonna pass on whatever that was.
Let's keep some things.
Okay.
But for you, after that moment, this is your real head, right?
You already did? It's okay. Well,
I would say, like, this is your real body. This is your real hair. And you did this for a role, but were you like, oh, shit, why did I do that? Did you ever have that moment?
No, I never did. And so we finished it, and I just was like, I wasn't really... It was kind of a bit of an out-of-body experience. I don't remember it, but it was so beautiful how this was such a labor of love for everybody involved. Yeah. Like literally the whole crew came in. People were just hugging me after, laughing, crying. Yeah. And Larry Sims, who he's like, you know, such an amazing hairstyle. This was his first movie. He designed all the wigs, and because we had to do wigs as well as my natural hair. And it was all me, in the shaving scene. But I kept asking him, I was like, do you think that my head is a good shape? Like and he was like, yeah, baby. I said, wait, can you tell through all my hair? He said, yeah, I can tell. Anyway, we do the scene and he rushes in, he has tears in his eyes. He's like, thank God. I was like, wait a second, you told me. He's like, I didn't know. He said, I didn't know. I was like, isn't that funny? So I could have had a cone head. Who knew, you know?
You're like, what is this bump? You told me it was perfect.
Exactly.
You do have a perfect head, though. I mean,
you really do.
Thank the Lord. Thank you.
Like already on my scalp, I know I have 2 bumps that would not look good. So I was like, she did it. Yeah. I also want to talk about another scene for me that was really important where the love interest actually massages her scalp.
Oh, yeah.
Guys, it was like the sexiest thing I've ever seen in a movie. Yeah. It was so,
felt good too.
Because for Black women, our hair
we could tell.
is intimacy, is vulnerability.
Yeah.
And we know that we don't really let men touch our scalp or our hair, you know, because depending on the day, right? So that scene was so important and so subtle, and it was so sexy without being overly sexualized, you know what I mean? So just take me through that scene and the thought process behind that. Haifaa, if you want.
Was that in the script?
I don't know.
Or was that Lyric's idea?
I don't know if it was in the script. I think it.
There was a kiss in the script.
There was a kiss in the script. I think.
don't know. Well, it's interesting
much
because
better than a
Lyric
kiss.
That he uses the
Yes,
oil.
to-
The
So,
oil.
you know,
Okay,
that
yes.
was in the script.
So it was in the script that he had, because he's a hairdresser, and actually Lyric Bent was a real hairdresser at one point in his life, which I thought was fascinating.
You could tell how he put the oil on his hand.
Yes, right?
Yeah,
But I think that in the script it was just
You
him.
definitely paid attention to that
I
scene.
love this movie.
She
I'm
said the way he put the oil on his...
Yes, yes. But I think he really turned it into a real massage because it wasn't necessarily that in the script. And I wasn't acting, it just felt good. But it was interesting because after I did my Instagram reveal when I was bald, I had every ex-boyfriend I've ever been with called, and I was like, and literally was like, can I come rub it? Can I come rub your head? I was so shocked by the reaction, you know?
Because we go through all this fear that men won't love us without our hair.
Yeah.
That, you know, our hair is who we are. And she would come into the church and say, you won't believe it. Look what he texted me. Look at this.
Well, we do wrap so much of our value in our hair. And I think...
We're taught that, too. That hair equals beauty. Like, you know, your hair
love
is a metaphor. I always say Love and Basketball was a love story through the kind of the vehicle of basketball. It really wasn't it's about basketball, but it's really a love story. And this is the same thing. This is a love story through the vehicle of hair, but it's a love story about self-love and falling in love with yourself. Yeah.
That's why I really like the ending. I won't give it away, but I thought that was a perfect way to do it.
And very intentional.
I could tell. And in addition to just being able to connect to it, I think it was an education. Obviously, as a Black woman, I could relate to a lot of the themes, but I think for a lot of other people who aren't that familiar with Black women's hair, but they maybe saw good hair and they know it's important and they know there's a lot of money in the industry, I think it explains so much about Black women to understand, even like that hot comb, why we have a tenuous relationship with dishwasher steam. You know what I mean?
That's so funny.
It just explains all of that stuff in a way that I could just give it to my wife friends and be like, you'll understand.
Now you'll understand, because it's all about water, right? It could be steam, it could be the pool, it could be shower, it could be all these different forms of water.
So
rain.
The clip that they just put out. By the way, I just have to say kudos to Netflix. The way that they've handled this on the marketing side, I mean, obviously, I'm just so kind of impressed with their whole, the movies that they're putting out being so inclusive and having different leads of different races. I mean, I feel like they're really taking the lead, and I love that. But the way that they've also handled the marketing, I've been in this business for over 20 years, and I've never had such specific, care and thought out marketing. But anyway, one of the clips that they just put out, it's on all over social media, is the beginning, the opening of the movie where she goes into the pool.
Where's the little girl standing at the edge of the pool,
Exactly.
and her mom's like,
and
or
I got
Lynn's like,
so many people were so moved by that clip because it hit home.
It's just so simple. I mean, for it to be a mother is mortified at a professional event with the father and everything in business, and this little girl dares to jump into the pool and come out with a nappy head. How could you do that to a parent? And it's like the big insult of all time.
But also for Violet, then she gets picked on. And I grew up in an area where I was the only Black kid. So I've been in that moment where somebody's like, what happened to your hair? And you're like, oh, this isn't okay. And it starts really early.
Well, look at and I can tell that you honestly felt that. I saw that wash come over you out of your spirit.
Me too.
Just in that, and still. And that's why
that's why we made this movie.
Do you remember the thing recently on social media? I retweeted it.
I did.
There's a little 10-year-old or 9-year-old Black girl who was in Catholic school and she got kicked out for wearing twists, and the twists were beautiful. And she was sobbing. That just broke my heart that this is happening in this day and age.
That's why I'm saying we've come a long way, but there's obviously still a long way to go. I mean, people still, can't wear their hair certain ways in the military and in certain corporate jobs. I mean, until that stops, we haven't gone far enough.
Right.
But Sanaa, this isn't the first time I've seen one of your characters go through that hair evolution. You sort of have touched on it in other roles. With something new when she decided to, you know what I mean?
That was like a little baby.
But it's there and it's important, and I think it speaks to a lot of women like me who grew up being able to see you in those roles and feel okay with who we were. So, like I said, I really love this film. I think it's really important, and I hope people make the time to see it and maybe even watch it with their friends. I think it'd be a fun
watch it with
group.
your friends. I think it's a great movie to see with your friends and talk about all these
And with
issues.
your boyfriends, too. It is not a message for women.
With
it's an education.
With men,
yes,
too.
men, when they see a woman, they should see her soul, not like the perfect picture, hashtag, my girlfriend is hot. That is wrong.
Now I think it's time to go to the audience. I know they have a couple of questions. Who do we have first?
Hello, ladies. How are you? I have to pause for a second and just say, Lynn Whitfield, you look amazing. Yeah. Amazing. Amazing. I truly, truly thank God for preserving you the way that He has. Like, seriously, you look amazing. But I wanted to ask each of you, what impact has that movie had on you moving forward, and what did you take away from it, and that how would you remain true to yourself now moving forward?
Who's starting?
I'll start. I mean, obviously, I really shaved my head, so it really has had a big impact. It's been about a year since we did it. I've done 2 roles where I wore my natural hair, which I hadn't worn my natural hair since Love and Basketball, so that was exciting. And every day, it's a new adventure. Like, there are some days, listen, I'm conditioned like the rest of us, and there's some days where I'm like, I wish I had some hair. But other days, I feel so free and liberated, and I can't believe how many natural hair care products there are out there. Like, I don't even, I have a closet full of them, and I don't know what to use every day, but and there's so many amazing YouTube videos. I just love all of the natural hair culture that's happening right now. So definitely just in that respect, it has been very liberating.
Well, first and foremost, I ended up with 3 or 4 incredible relationships with my sisters and strong women, women who are about the work and not about the ego of the work, about things, about serving, to nurture other women, other human beings. And that for me is so meaningful because you can end up on a set and it's like, oh, okay, it's like that, let me stay to myself then. But so I've ended up with that. Last year when we did the movie, I was in my 2nd year of not perming my hair. And so I've been fooling with it. This week, this is the first time that there's been like heat on it and flat iron. And I'm like, is it gonna mess up my natural curl? But I'm tired of this shrinkage. I like have this whole new vocabulary. And just, you know, somehow it brought me closer with my daughter, who encouraged me to stop perming my hair. And just a very powerful base of creative energy and authenticity of people from so many different perspectives and corners of the world, and very meaningful because it was extremely. Well, we showed up. We had so much fun. And then today I haven't seen her since almost. We showed up and we did not know.
It wasn't planned.
No, it's just so great to be with beautiful women and not have any threat, none of that. It's just been so nurturing. So that's part of what I walk away with.
Do you want to?
Yeah, I learned self-acceptance when you are older is really hard. Like to undo everything that society does to you, it is hard. It's hard for me to wear my hair natural still. I was like, it's gonna be messy and frizzy, and just like I can't. But I don't want my daughter to go through that. So since she's little, I want her to enjoy her frizzy hair and go there and have fun because it's really early. So I hope I can give it to her. And
you have to start wearing it.
Yeah.
So her hair is so beautiful.
I mean,
it just like goes everywhere. I'll try to love it.
I think Sanaa has some products she can lend you.
Yeah, I sure do.
Yeah, exactly.
Just pass it on.
Well, I mean, I would say I think that women can sort of wear their hair how they want it, weave, straighten, natural, but just to not feel like our natural selves is somehow to have shame in that. To embrace it and love it as well. And that for me has been a challenge. And through this movie, I mean, Sanaa kept saying, you're gonna shave your head with me. And I was like, no, I'm not. But I think through the movie, I've learned a few weeks ago, I actually was looking at myself. I have extensions and I was getting my hair done. And I looked at myself in the mirror with this short afro and I thought, I really look beautiful. And for the first time ever, I thought, I can embrace this. So the movie's doing something. You know?
Oh.
That's a moment for sure. Next question.
Quick fact and a question. Black women spend more money on their hair than any other race.
Yeah.
And the question for Ms. Lathan is, have you noticed that the roles you've been offered have changed since you shaved your hair? What's the reaction from like producers, directors, so on?
You know, I don't know. I mean, I did The Affair, which is a show on Showtime, right after, and they, I said, I always ask for a camera test, especially because it was, you know, it's a white show, so I just want to make sure they know how to light me. So
What's a white show?
I mean, it's based in Montauk.
Yeah, I mean, I shouldn't say it's a white show. It's predominantly white cast. Anyway, so my hair was super low. It wasn't even like, it was almost still bald. And she's a principal in Compton, and I was like, I could rock this for her, but then I was scared. And so I went to Kim Kimball, who's another amazing hairstylist that I love, and I was like, get me a long, beautiful, flowing wig, and I did the camera test with both. So the producers were like, whatever you want, it works for the character both ways. And I asked the crew, that day, the crew happened to be, it's a very mixed group of people, but that day happened to be predominantly men, and I said, what do you guys think? Knowing they were gonna say the wig, and they said, your natural hair. So I chose to do the part with my natural hair for that, and then I did Native Son, which will be coming out next year, with Rashid Johnson, the amazing painter who's directing it. He said, I noticed that you have a natural. A natural is, we know what natural is, right? It's a little short fro. Yeah. He's like, do you mind using it for the character? So he asked me. I was ready to put on a wig. So, you know, it's been interesting. We'll see what, I mean, I'm sure I'll wear wigs and weaves at some point.
But you know, to her credit, it's because this is a woman, and when she decided to own it, she really, really did. I think the response has to do with that as well.
Okay.
You know, like really, you owned it.
Yeah.
Which we see in the movie where confidence is the best accessory, really.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. Another question?
Yeah.
My question actually is for Miss Lynn Whitfield. And you have such a longevity in this, you know, business, starting with Josephine Baker and playing leading ladies that actually I have grown up watching and actually, you know, loved and revered and honored, playing those characters as well as Thin Line Between Love and Hate, which is one of my personal favorite romantic comedies. So bringing all this kind of wisdom to this movie and this character now playing a different role as the mother, and what kind of wisdom did you impart even to Miss Sanaa playing now the leading ladies that you have played in the past?
Well, you know what? You're only as good as your scene partner, no matter what. I mean, because it's the exchange, the human exchange that creates the moment. You know, because I could be acting all by myself. That's called a monologue. And so we didn't have to. I mean, we just jumped into the moments together. Yeah. One of the things that I did see, which I really loved, is, you know, the mother comes to her house early in the morning to straighten her hair. Yeah. And she thinks that she's gonna get engaged that day. And so when I walked in, I whispered, because we didn't want the boyfriend to hear that we were gonna. And then she whispered back, and then I whispered, and then it just became, you know, a moment. So most of it is just playing together, and not, I don't think on any set that it's good for an actor to like come from any other level than meeting somebody toe to toe and being there with each other. So that's kind of how I, you know, how I approach it always, whether it's an actor with no experience or lies. I mean, look, if they're that bad, I might give them a point or two, but there was nothing like that here. I mean, the biggest thing is what I was talking about earlier, which is ageism in this industry, you know, and how you deal with the ego of being the, you know, the topless leading lady in Bananas and moving on to the mad woman and the, you know, neurotic Eve's by You and this and that, to now the mother, and in Greenleaf, you know, these big ass grandchildren. And, I mean, what the hell is going on here? Because it's still going on and I'm not giving it up.
Yes!
So, but that's for me to deal with and to walk in authority with it, like Helen Mirren does, and many to say, listen, women of a certain age still have passion, still have drive, still have laughter, still have rhythm and spice.
This is,
so I have work to do, but it's hard.
No, but and you do it so
they so
gracefully.
easily try to make you a mama.
No,
and I am not into it.
No, you're not. You're not.
Tell them, Sanaa.
No,
tell
she's not. I mean,
all of them for me.
I'm like older than her. I mean, it's like
you are not.
So I've been in this business forever, and I've had crazy experiences with actresses who are older than me, where I made a vow that to myself in my 20s that I would never be like that. I have had really mean people be really mean.
I did too.
You know, and I vowed to myself, and so every time I work with somebody the first time, you know, I brace myself. And this one right here, you're like my sister. I love, she has the reason why she looks like this is because of her youthful, open, loving spirit.
Yeah.
You can't look like that and have a angry ass, bitter, crusty spirit. Right? So it was a blessing. She feels like my family. Yeah.
I know.
Yeah. And so.
We were just so blessed.
Yeah.
Smart.
Yeah.
And I can tell you guys didn't have to work very hard for that relationship because the dynamic reads like a mother-daughter. You know what I mean? And now to see you guys, I'm like, oh, it makes sense.
Right.
Yeah. And then one last question before we go.
Hi, everyone. You guys all look so great, though. So good. Sanaa, this question is for you. I'm currently in grad school studying theater, and I know you went to grad school to study drama, but I wanted to know, while you were in school, did you get an urge to, like, just go out and start auditioning for film and TV? Like, did you feel like you had a time limit? Because grad school takes up so much time.
It really does.
But did you feel like there was a dedication and a focus to the program?
Yeah, I mean, I went to Yale, and it was, I think in 3 years you do like 30 plays. So by the time you leave there, you are more comfortable on stage than you are in your own skin. And so it's the best preparation acting-wise. They're really theater-based. And when I was there many years ago, there were a couple of jobs that I got, and my teacher told me that I had to choose, you know, stay in school or take the job. Like you can't do both. But there are other programs that are more open, and that was a long time ago, so it could be different now. But I wouldn't trade it for the world because this business is so hard, and there's so much rejection, and there's so much criticism at every stage, even once you start making it, even, you know, once you have success, there's different forms of that. So to have a craft that you can fall back on and have that inner confidence, it's priceless.
And a time, because you won't ever have a time like this again.
Yes.
Where it's just about refining and honing your craft and your instrument. That's what it's about. You won't have it. You're gonna have all this other pressure, you know? But it's for each person to decide on their own. But it's a precious, wonderful, gifted time to be able to just work on your craft with no pressure.
Enjoy it.
Thank you so much.
Well, everyone, the greatness that you've seen on the stage for the last 30 or so minutes is just magnified in the movie Nappily Ever After. Like I said, it's something that kept me thinking for hours, days afterwards, and I know that it's going to be an important movie for a lot of women. So thank you all for making it.
I
And
can't
guys,
wait till you
please
guys
put your
see
hands
the
together
movie.
for Sanaa Lathan, Lynn Whitfield, Haifaa Al-Mansour, and Tracey Bing.